this is a sign, I hope, of the tide changing for me, because I spent a good chunk of the latter part of 2025 being tardy, and so yeah, as we're ending January, maybe this is a sign of me getting back on point. I pray. By the way, don't mind my voice. I had a lot of sneezing today. I'm feeling something that is trying to come and take over my body, but I will not let it. I've already prayed against it, but so bear with my voice if I start sneezing or coughing, I do apologize. But welcome to Soul Strengthening Sessions. It is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, and we are wrapping this series that I began at the start of January, Maintaining Your Peace. I'm actually excited about this one because this is, and I wrote earlier today, I wrote this out, so I'm pretty much going to read verbatim, you guys, because I am pretty tired. I had a long day. So yeah, I'm titling this Maintaining Your Peace, People, Places, and Things. Again, here on YouTube, and for the most part, most of my videos, I do teach very general about these things, just to kind of keep it simple and easy to digest for everybody. But it's my one-to-one sessions where I get into the depths of these things. So if you're interested, again, I'm going to remind you, and I'll remind you all week probably, my sessions right now are $57 per hour, and I am keeping that rate till the end of January. So FYI, if you're interested, book a session with me. Reach out to me at choosyourstart@gmail.com, or leave your email here in the description, the live stream, or the comments, and I'll reach out to you. By the way, how's your week going? My days are still so scrambled, you guys. My schedule is nothing regular or consistent, so I've been really struggling with this actually the last 2 months. Since my health scare, I feel like I came back and I have no structure to my day or my week, and it's really bothering me actually. Because as I shared before, I like organization with my schedule. I like consistency with my day. I'm somebody who's very, I don't know, I like my comforts at the end of the day, and sometimes I don't have that, so kind of stresses me out a little bit. But how is your day? How is your week going? How was January for you? I'm going to be asking this until the end of the week. But yeah, do let me know. And I'm going to start, you guys. I'm going to start maintaining your peace with people, places, and things. And we're going to start with places, which is our environment. As I said, because I'm so tired, I'm literally going to read my notes verbatim. I might ad-lib, I might go with the flow. Well, I always go with the flow, but I'm definitely gonna read from what I wrote today. So feel free to say hello, feel free to hop in the comments and say hi, and let me know how you're doing. Welcome to the channel if you're subscribing. I'm happy you're here. Looking forward to getting to know you. So our environment affects us, yes, we know this, but it does not need to be given the power to control how we think or feel, especially when you've got some healing in you. So this is a caveat, I feel. Hi Amber, good to see you. Thanks for saying hello. I'm doing okay, thank you. I'm a little tired, but other than that, I'm doing well. How are you? When you get to the space where you're on the inner healing journey, you begin to take your power back. You begin to take control of your life. You begin to, you're in tune with your triggers. You're in tune with some of the things you've been dealing with. So it's amazing how much power you reclaim, and when things come against you, it's not as easy to access you. You're not as easily accessible. So a perfect example of this is a toxic work environment. I think a lot of us can relate to this. And remember, this is in the context that you know you're supposed to be somewhere. Okay, so let's say you moved out of state, you started a new job, you know God led you there, but here come the attacks, here come the toxic energies, okay? But you know you're supposed to be there, okay? So in this instance, it's important that we remember that there's a fine balance, okay? And it requires discernment. And God will give you discernment wherever you are, trust me. So I can go to work knowing that there is going to be warfare that's going to come at me, but I can clock in and clock out unscathed. Does it sound like ideal and wonderful? Well, it's possible. If you have the spirit of peace, if you're in alignment with God's will, you know what you're supposed to be doing, you can handle people's crazy, toxic energy, and you can handle it excellently. But this is the caveat, and the key is to have the spirit of peace flowing through me, giving me sustenance, giving me strength to therefore go into the world and handle what's coming at me. And it's supernatural, absolutely supernatural. So we must remember that we live in a broken planet. We live with broken consciousness all around us. As people, so as people on the path to restoration, not only do we have the ability to rise above, but we have the power to move positive energy into atmospheres we find ourselves in. This is so important to know. If you have peace, if you have the light, you have power to change your atmosphere wherever you are, wherever you're going. So I can walk into a space with dark energy and make an impact when I have the spirit of peace, which is what I pray for you. This is why I wanted to teach this, so that you can be equipped to, first of all, know the spirit of peace, receive the spirit of peace, have the spirit of peace wherever you go, and obviously in your own inner healing journey, have that peace guide you into your healing and restoration. So that's environment. Okay? Maintaining my peace in any environment. You can do it. This is important to remember. Okay, so things, moving on to things. And this might be short and sweet tonight, but I don't know. You know, every time I come live, I really don't know what's going to happen for the most part. So some of you might start hopping in the chat and start asking questions, and it might be a longer video, but let's move on. So things are situations in my life, much of them outside of my control. This one can be difficult to move through, as oftentimes we are moved by our circumstances. Anybody, does that sound familiar to any of you? Moved by my circumstances. I know I have definitely been a victim of this, and it took me some time to master, and I'm still working through some things, but for the most part, I feel I have a good understanding about I don't need to be moved by my circumstances. I can still stay in peace. I can still stay focused on the path God has for me. That one, I feel like over the last several years, by the grace of God, I've got that one down. I can still be in peace regardless of my circumstances. But when they are close to home, it can be very challenging. These are quite often things that happen to us or in our lives when good things happen, of course, we feel elated, we feel great, we feel happy, and our peace thrives. But when we face difficulties, then we may feel tempted to lose or even abandon our peace, to sulk in our circumstances. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Anybody struggle with this one? You can have joy and peace, and you can have sorrow or pain and peace. It's all a matter of if you have the peace to begin with. This is the blessing. Peace doesn't abandon me when life gets hard. In fact, it is what keeps me in joy in spite of what happens in my life. This is a powerful key to remember. Just like any spiritual fruit does not cease to exist because life happens to me. I can still have joy, I can still have peace, I can still have kindness, I can still have meekness, I can still have gentleness, I can still have love, I can still have, y'all, I'm quizzing myself, patience, I can still have goodness, I'm getting to 9, and I can still have self-control, which is the fruit of the Spirit, in spite of what life throws at me. In fact, I need that fruit coming through my spirit so that I can handle what comes at me. I'm sure that you guys can relate to this. Okay, and again, we're all different, we all struggle differently, we all look at things differently. So for some of you, circumstances are a big one. For others of you, environment is a big one. And now we're moving on to people. So now we're talking about the people in our lives. Take a moment and think about all the people in your life. I'm speaking specifically to people that you are surrounded by on a regular basis. Okay, so if you live with your family or you live, think about the people that you're around constantly in this season. For some of you, you've already gone very deep in the trenches of this, and you've actually had to leave the environment of some people because of the lack of peace. Okay? Do you feel peaceful when you think about them? In this space, we may have to put in some work. And in fact, we will have to put in some work. Because the reality is people affect us more than the previous two. Why? Because we are carriers of energy and we exchange energy. Okay, and energy is movement. It is alive, and it affects us, right? This is important to remember, actually. Remember this about energy, which, yes, in the back of our minds we understand this, but think about this. Just as I was sharing, if you've been following me daily, yesterday I was talking about our Mind, Heart Monday series, and I was talking about recovery and restoration of the mind. And I was talking about how if I'm to have a new mindset and perspective about myself when it comes to my worth, because that was my example, then I must relinquish the old self-perspective of worthlessness, because that was the message that I received For some of you, of course, it's different. You received a message that help you have a self-dialogue. Okay, that's energy. Words are energy. This is a whole other teaching, you guys, but I am very big on words, and I'm actually coming back to it. I'm actually coming back to this truth for myself, because for a little while I've kind of abandoned that reality for myself. But words are energy. If I speak positivity, this is the energy I can expect. If I speak negativity, that's the energy I can expect, because God created us in His image, and God created by speaking things into existence. It's literally one of the first things we read in Scripture is He spoke and it was. So in the same way, when I speak, I create a living thing to happen in my life or in the life of others. Now, what a lot of people don't understand or realize is I am speaking, even if someone speaks, let's say in the example of yesterday, someone speaks negativity toward me or about me or to me, it is going to impact me, yes, of course, especially if it's someone that I care about, that I look up to in some instances, or that I love, and that I am in a relationship with them where I'm hoping and expecting to be loved and cherished and taken care of. Their words are going to affect me, right? But at the same time, their words are going to affect them, because they are creating energy with what they speak, even if it is about somebody else. And actually, y'all, if I were to get very deeply spiritual about this, God doesn't take that lightly. If you speak evil against somebody, you will reap the fruit of those words. So, words that we speak are energy, and they're powerful. So, as I was just saying, if I'm surrounded by encouraging and uplifting energy and the people around me, then I'm safe and peace will thrive. But if I'm in the company of people that are filled with, or of the company that are filled with energy vampires or critical spirits, then I won't fare very well. Worse, I might abandon my own peace if I'm not strong enough or healed enough to fight the good fight of faith, to combat those toxic energies. This is super critical to remember. And some of you are here, unfortunately and sadly. Some of you are still in toxic relationships, or you're around toxic family members that they just, no matter what you do, they can't support you. They just have something to say about you, you know? And it can be very exhausting and draining and lonely. So it is important to discern the company you keep, and to remember that, you know, people expose themselves by their fruit, the words they speak, the way they treat you. Yes, the words they speak and the way they treat you, because eventually your actions will expose your words, or they'll affirm your words. So it's important to remember that, y'all. Very, very important. And by the way, yes, if you are struggling, you need someone to talk to, please reach out, shesrestored@gmail.com. Leave a message here, and I'd be very honored to work with you and help you through some of these issues. Just as I must be in tune with my own healing journey and keep a healthy balance to my self-awareness and actualization on the trajectory to restoration, I must discern the company I keep. Super important. not everyone is doing the work in themselves to find their better versions of self. So there's broken people, and this is broken people, people that are truly humble, but they don't know where to begin to get better. Okay, this is important to remember. A lot of times people hurt us because they're hurt themselves and they just don't know how to come out of it. So they project their issues, they project their insecurities, they project their anxieties and their fears onto us, and we're sort of in the line of fire of it. And then there's toxic people. Toxic people are people who are truly indifferent and most often oblivious to their own depth of brokenness. Okay, so it's similar to broken people, but the difference here with toxic people is they lack empathy. They lack empathy toward others for their shortcomings and their actions. Okay, so in broken people who are, projecting their insecurities or anxieties, whatever, onto you, they're rude, they're curt, whatever it is, there's still a humility. They will still apologize. They will still have some sense of, I did something wrong to you and I'm sorry. And they'll try to work toward repair and reconciliation and restoration. But toxic people don't care. They don't care if they hurt you. They have no sense of empathy. They don't feel your pain. In fact, they don't care. They don't care that you're hurting. They don't care that they offended you. They don't care that how they spoke to you or how they treated you hurt you or impacted you negatively. And most often they'll find some justification, or worse, they'll be unhinged and make you feel worse for saying something. Anyways, that's the second group of people. The third group of people are that we can be dealing with when it comes to losing our peace is evil people. And yes, evil people do exist. Again, I taught on this not that long ago, but these are people that are filled with the darkest and most malevolent energies. They don't have the spirit of peace. They don't have the spirit of God. So they are susceptible to other dark spirits and entities, and it gets very, very complex and dark, actually. These can be foul spirits. These can be familiar spirits. These can be all kinds of very, very dark, okay? And I don't have time to really get into all of them. I might do a teaching on this, actually, because I do know quite a bit about the spiritual realm, but these are, most often they're not even aware that they're being used as agents from the evil one to wreak havoc in the lives of others. That's the scary part, is a lot of these, when we think about people being filled with evil, I mean, we think about horror movies, we think about some of these, like The Exorcist or something, that a dark spirit literally takes over a person and causes them to do evil. This is what's happening. Which, by the way, that was based on a true story, so let's keep that in the back of your mind. However, when I have the spirit of peace to ground me and guide me, I can discern these sort of, and they are, I don't know, I want to call them stages, but they're not necessarily stages. They can be completely different brackets of people. But when I have the spirit of peace, I have the ability to have spiritual discernment. If you know, to discern, is this person in my life, is this somebody that's broken, or are they toxic, or are they really this evil? Okay, and it does take time to master this. Of course, you have to be you know, very close to God. You have to be prayerfully discerning things and people in your life, asking God for wisdom, asking God for direction, and He will show you. He will show you. And sometimes, if we're not bold enough, He might remove people from our life because we don't have the courage to part ways or whatever it is. Okay? And I also wrote here that sometimes we don't want to accept or believe that someone we're close to or that we love could actually be that evil to us. That they would go to great lengths to bring us pain in our lives. But often that is exactly the case. And unfortunately, there's too many stories, too many tragic stories. And especially in my line of work, I do know a lot about recovery from toxic relationships, narcissistic abuse, trauma. You know, this is my field. So unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are suffering because they don't have the understanding, they don't have the courage to understand these things for themselves and the people in their lives. But that's why I'm here, to empower you, to equip you, to help you gain your own recovery and strength in your soul realm. And oftentimes, like I've shared before, we find ourselves in these dynamics because of what we went through growing up. Or you might be the black sheep in your family, or as I like to say, the pink sheep, where you know you're the generational curse breaker in your family. So you're the one that everybody talks about, and not very favorably. You're the one that they that you're always on their tongue for some reason, and but there's a reason, because you see things through spiritual perspective to help. And obviously, I mean, the hope is that we can break the generational curses in our family, and the rest of the family can start to wake up to it too and start to heal and recover. Because that, to me, that's the best outcome, is having that restoration. But a lot of times, sometimes you just have to accept that's how it is. And as far as it depends on you, live peaceably. And like the word says, if you try and bring peace and they reject you, then you dust off your shoes and you move on. And that's how it goes. But yes, knowing how to set those boundaries for yourself are very important. And it doesn't really matter if it's work or family or personal relationships. Having those boundaries that are healthy, learning how to communicate in a healthy way is very important. But my encouragement to you is that in spite of all of this, you can still have peace, and that peace will guide you safely in the company that is divinely aligned for you. And that is my prayer and my hope for all of you. Wow, this has been 30 minutes. I didn't think it'd be so long. But yeah, that's my hope and my prayer for all of you. And I pray the spirit of peace over you. I pray that you have some time before this month ends to find the oneness that you've been looking for with the Spirit of the Lord, so that you can have that peace and carry it with you the rest of this year. This is what I've been praying for all of us, actually, when I do these streams. So, any questions, you guys feel free to ask me, whether you're watching on the replay or in the live. Or if you want to share anything, don't hesitate. I am coming back tomorrow for our anxiety and depression support as a live stream. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be here at 7 because I think I'm off tomorrow, or at least I'm off during the day. So I might actually come earlier than 7, and just give us a platform to just share what's going on. And if you guys are interested in doing one-to-one sessions with me, if you're struggling with anxiety, depression, that is one of the things that I specialize in, and I'd be honored to work with you. So don't hesitate to reach out. Y'all, my voice is going, isn't it? I can hear it, even though it's hard for me to hear, because these little guys are like soundproof. But I can still hear myself, and I feel like I lose my voice. So, Lord willing, I will be back tomorrow. And I think I don't have a teaching for us in our anxiety, depression support, but we'll see. We'll just see how it goes tomorrow. But I might come back with a teaching, or I might just leave it open-ended for us. So have a great rest of the night, and remember to maintain your peace, because it is spiritual inheritance. It is freely given to you, and we definitely need it in these last days. We need it. We need peace internally to handle the chaos out here. All right. Love y'all. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.